The dog was dying. Everyone could see it. Marcus Chen stood frozen on the sidewalk, his worn backpack heavy on his shoulders. The small golden retriever puppy lay in the middle of the busy New York street, blood spreading beneath its fur. Cars honked. People shouted. No one stopped, except Marcus. He was 19 years old, a college student. At least that's what his student ID said. But the truth was more complicated. He hadn't slept in a dorm room in 3 months, hadn't eaten a real meal in 2 days. His home was a cardboard box behind the library. His bed was concrete. His blanket was yesterday's newspaper. But none of that mattered right now. The puppy whimpered. A sound so small and broken, it cut through the noise of the city like a knife. Marcus dropped his backpack, ran into the street. Horns blared. A taxi swerved. Someone screamed at him to get out of the way. He didn't care. He reached the puppy and scooped it up. Warm blood soaked into his only jacket. The one he'd bought from a thrift store for $3. The one that kept him alive on cold nights. The puppy's eyes looked up at him. Dark, scared, trusting, Marcus whispered. "I've got you. If you're moved by this story, hit that subscribe button. You won't believe what happens next." Marcus looked around frantically. A veterinary clinic. He needed to find one. Fast, but he had no phone. No GPS, no money, just a dying puppy in his arms and a prayer that somehow he could save it. He started running. Down 5th Avenue. Past expensive stores he'd never shop in. Past restaurants where a single meal cost more than he spent in a week. Past people in designer suits who looked right through him like he didn't exist, because to them, didn't. Homeless people were invisible in New York, especially homeless college students. The ones who slipped through the cracks, who worked 2 jobs and still couldn't afford rent, who chose tuition over food. Books over shelter. Marcus's lungs burned. The puppy grew heavier in his arms. Or maybe he was just getting weaker. He hadn't eaten since yesterday morning. 1 granola bar. Split with another homeless kid named Tommy, 2 blocks, 3, 4. His vision blurred. His legs trembled. Keep going. Don't stop. Don't let this innocent thing die because you're too weak. Then he saw it. A sleek black car pulled up to the curb ahead. The door opened. A man stepped out. Tall, silver hair, expensive suit. The kind of man who commanded rooms just by entering them. The man's face went white. "Ali?" he shouted. Marcus stumbled to a stop. The man ran toward him. Not walked, ran, his polished shoes slapping against the pavement. "That's my dog," the man said, his voice breaking. "That's my Bailey." "What happened? Where did you find her?" Marcus could barely speak. "Hit by a car? 2 blocks back. She needs help. Now." The man's eyes filled with tears. Actual tears. This powerful, wealthy man crying over a puppy. "Get in the car," the man ordered. Not meanly, urgently. Marcus hesitated. He looked down at himself. Dirty clothes? Bloody jacket? He probably smelled. He definitely looked homeless. "Now," the man shouted, "please, I have a vet on call, but we need to go now." Marcus climbed into the car. The interior smelled like leather and money. He'd never been in anything this nice. Probably never would again. The driver took off before the door even closed. The man pulled out his phone. "Made a call, Dr. Reynolds. Emergency. My dog was hit by a car. I'm 5 minutes out. Prepare for surgery." Marcus held the puppy close, felt its heartbeat, weak, irregular, fading. He whispered, "Just a little longer." The man looked at Marcus, really looked at him, saw the dirt under his fingernails, the hollowness in his cheeks, the exhaustion in his eyes. "What's your name?" the man asked quietly. "Marcus. I'm Richard Caldwell." "Right." He paused. "Thank you for saving my dog." Most people would have just walked past. Marcus didn't know what to say, so he said nothing. The car pulled up to a pristine animal hospital. Glass doors, marble floors, a place where even the pets were treated like royalty. Dr. Reynolds rushed out with a stretcher, took Bailey from Marcus's arms, disappeared inside. Richard and Marcus stood on the sidewalk, the night air cold, the moment surreal. "Come inside," Richard said. "Please, I need to know she's okay. And I think you need to be here too." Marcus followed him in, not knowing that this single act of kindness would change everything, not knowing that the man standing beside him was about to turn his entire world upside down. Asterisk, asterisk, the waiting room was too clean, too bright, too expensive. Marcus sat in a leather chair that probably cost more than a semester of his tuition. His bloody jacket stained the pristine upholstery. He tried to make himself smaller, less noticeable. Richard paced back and forth, his expensive shoes squeaking against the polished floor. Every few seconds, he glanced at the surgery doors, waiting, hoping. An hour passed. Then, too, Marcus's stomach growled. Loud, embarrassing, he pressed his hand against it, trying to silence the hunger. Richard stopped pacing, looked at him. "When did you last eat?" he asked. "Yesterday. Yesterday evening. Yesterday morning." Richard's jaw tightened. He pulled out his phone, made a call. "Maria, I need food delivered to Riverside Animal Hospital. Immediately. Enough for 2 people. Something hot. Something filling." He hung up, sat down next to Marcus, not across from him. Next to him? "Tell me about yourself," Richard said quietly. Marcus shrugged. "Not much to tell. You're in college. I saw your student ID when you bent down. It fell out of your pocket." Marcus's hand instinctively went to his pocket, empty. His ID must have fallen when he picked up Bailey. "No, you," Marcus admitted. "Engineering major. 2nd year." "That's impressive." "NYU isn't easy to get into. It's full scholarship. Academic. It was the only way I could afford it." Richard nodded slowly. "Where do you live?" The question hung in the air. Heavy, loaded. Marcus could lie. Should lie. But something about this moment, this man, this night made lying feel impossible. "Wherever I can," he said simply. Richard's eyes widened. "You're homeless." "Technically, I'm a student without permanent housing." Marcus tried to smile, failed. "Sounds better that way." "How long?" 3 months. I had a place. Shared apartment with 3 other guys. But the rent kept going up. My jobs couldn't keep pace. I had to choose between housing and tuition. You chose tuition. Education is the only way out. Housing is temporary. A degree is forever. Richard looked at him like he was seeing something rare. Something unexpected. The surgery doors opened. Dr. Reynolds stepped out. His face was tired but smiling. "She's going to make it," he said. Richard's entire body sagged with relief. He stood, shook the doctor's hand. "Thank you. Thank you so much. She's incredibly lucky. Another 10 minutes and we would have lost her. Internal bleeding, broken ribs. But she's young, strong. She'll recover fully." Richard turned to Marcus. "Because of you. She's alive because of you." Marcus felt something strange in his chest. Pride, maybe, or purpose. For 3 months, he felt worthless, invisible, a burden on a city that didn't care if he lived or died. But tonight he'd mattered. He'd saved something precious. Food arrived. Bags and bags of it. Chinese food, Italian, sandwiches, soup. "I didn't know what you'd like," Richard said. "So, I ordered everything." Marcus stared at the food. More food than he'd seen in months. His hands trembled as he reached for a container. He ate slowly at first, then faster. Then he couldn't stop. Rice, noodles, bread, everything tasted like heaven. Richard watched him, didn't say anything. Just watched with an expression Marcus couldn't read. When Marcus finally stopped, ashamed at how much he'd eaten, Richard spoke. "My daughter had a dog," he said quietly. "A golden retriever, just like Bailey had. Past tense. Her name was Sunny. She died 2 years ago. Old age. My daughter was devastated. She's 12 now. She asked for another dog every single day for a year." Richard's voice cracked. "I finally got Bailey 3 months ago. For her birthday. She loves that dog more than anything in the world." Marcus understood now. This wasn't just a pet. This was a connection to a child. A promise kept. A source of joy. "She's at her mother's house tonight," Richard continued. "We're divorced. Joint custody. If something had happened to Bailey, if I had to tell her that I lost her dog," he didn't finish. "Didn't need to. You saved more than a dog tonight, Marcus. You saved my relationship with my daughter. You saved me from breaking her heart." Marcus didn't know what to say, so he said nothing. Dr. Reynolds returned. "You can see her now. She's sedated but stable." They walked to the recovery room. Bailey lay on a soft bed, bandaged, but breathing. Her tail gave a weak wag when she saw Richard. Richard knelt beside her, stroked her head gently. "You're okay, girl. You're going to be okay." Bailey's eyes found Marcus. That same look from the street, trusting, grateful. Richard stood, turned to Marcus. "I want to do something for you, to thank you." Marcus shook his head. "You don't owe me anything." "Yes, I do. You risked your life running into traffic. You used your jacket to stop her bleeding. You ran miles to find help. Most people wouldn't have done any of that, especially not someone in your situation. It was the right thing to do." "Exactly." Richard pulled out his wallet, removed a business card and a stack of cash. "This is $500. It's not enough. It's not nearly enough, but it's a start." Marcus stared at the money. More money than he'd seen in months. Enough for food, for a warm place to sleep, for books he desperately needed. "And this," Richard handed him the card, "is my personal number. Call me tomorrow, please. I want to help you. Really help you." Marcus took the money and the card with shaking hands. "I don't understand why." Richard smiled, sad. "Knowing, because someone helped me once. When I was young, when I had nothing, and I promised myself that if I ever got the chance, I'd pay it forward." He put his hand on Marcus's shoulder. "Go get some sleep. A real sleep. In a real bed. Take care of yourself. And call me tomorrow." Marcus left the animal hospital in a daze. The money felt heavy in his pocket. The business card felt like a lifeline. He didn't know it yet, but his life had just changed forever. Marcus found a cheap motel. $40 for the night. Clean sheets. Hot water. A door that locked. He stood in the shower for 30 minutes. Watched the dirt and blood swirl down the drain. Felt human again. Almost. He slept for 12 hours. The longest sleep he'd had in months. No waking up to police flashlights. No shivering from cold. No fear, just peace. Morning came. Sunlight through thin curtains. Marcus woke slowly. For a moment, he forgot where he was. Then he remembered the dog, the car. Richard Caldwell, the business card, sat on the nightstand. Richard Caldwell, CEO, Caldwell Industries. Marcus pulled out his phone. An old model, cracked screen, but it still worked. Barely, he stared at the number. Part of him wanted to call. Part of him was terrified. What if Richard had changed his mind? What if last night was just emotion talking? What if this was all some cruel joke? But he'd promised to call. Marcus dialed 2 rings. 3. Marcus. Richard's voice, warm, alert, like he'd been waiting.
Sir.
It's me. I'm glad you called. How are you feeling? Better. Thank you for everything. I meant what I said last night. I want to help you. Are you free today? Marcus almost laughed. Free? He had nothing but free time. Yes, sir. Meet me in my office. 11 a.m. I'm sending a car. That's not necessary, it is. See you soon. The line went dead. 30 minutes later, a black town car pulled up outside the motel. The same driver from last night. He opened the door without a word. No judgment. No questions. Marcus climbed in. The drive took 20 minutes. Through Manhattan, past buildings that touched the sky, into the financial district where money moved in billions, not dollars. The car stopped in front of a massive tower, glass and steel. The name Caldwell Industries blazed across the top in letters 10 feet tall. Marcus felt small. Out of place? Wrong. But he got out anyway. The lobby was marble and gold. People in suits rushed past. Everyone looked important, busy, like they belonged. Marcus approached the security desk. I'm here to see Richard Caldwell. Guard looked him up and down. Saw his cheap clothes, his worn shoes. Doubt crossed his face. Name: Marcus Chen. The guard checked his computer. His eyebrows rose. Top floor, express elevator. Mr. Caldwell is expecting you. The elevator ride felt like flying. 47 floors in less than a minute. Marcus's ears popped. The doors opened to a reception area nicer than any place Marcus had ever been. A woman at the desk smiled at him, genuinely. Mr. Chen, please follow me. She led him down a hallway. Opened a large door. Richard sat behind a desk the size of Marcus's old apartment, but he stood immediately. Came around. Shook Marcus's hand like they were equals. Please, sit. Marcus sat. The chair was comfortable. Everything here was comfortable. I've been thinking about you all night, Richard said. About your situation. About what you did. About what I can do to help.
How?
Mr. Caldwell, you already helped. The money, $500, won't change your life, Marcus. It'll help for a week. Maybe 2. Then you'll be right back where you started. Richard leaned forward. I don't want to give you a handout. I want to give you a future. Marcus's heart pounded. What do you mean? I did some research this morning. Called NYU. Spoke with your academic advisor? Do you know what they told me? Marcus shook his head. They told me you're brilliant. Top of your class. Perfect GPA. Professors fighting over you for research positions. One even said you're the most talented engineering student he's seen in 20 years. Marcus felt his face flush. I just work hard. You do more than work hard. You excel. Despite everything, despite having no home, no food, no support. You're still succeeding where others with every advantage are failing. Richard stood. Walked to the window. New York spread out below them like a toy city. I started with nothing, Marcus. Actually, less than nothing. I started in debt. My father died when I was 16. Left my mother and me with bills we couldn't pay. I worked 3 jobs to put myself through community college. Slept in my car. Ate ramen for 2 years straight. He turned back. But someone saw potential in me. A professor. He connected me with an investor. That investor took a chance on my first business idea. It failed. Spectacularly. But he gave me another chance. And another. Until one finally worked. Richard walked back to his desk. Pulled out a folder. I want to be that person for you. The one who takes a chance? He handed Marcus the folder. Inside was a document. Official. Legal. Marcus's hands shook as he read. This is a full scholarship, Richard explained. Not just tuition, housing, food, books, a monthly stipend for expenses. Everything you need to focus entirely on your education. But Marcus couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. But that's not all, Richard continued. I'm also offering you an internship at Caldwell Industries, paid part-time during school, full-time in summers. Working with our engineering team on real projects, real experience. Tears filled Marcus's eyes. He tried to blink them back. Failed. Why? He whispered, "Why me?" Richard smiled, sad, understanding. Because you saved something precious to me. Because you didn't have to, but you did anyway. Because you're exactly the kind of person the world needs more of. Smart, hardworking, compassionate. And because I see myself in you, the young man I was, the young man who just needed one person to believe in him. Marcus looked at the papers, at the chance he'd never dared to dream of. There's one condition, Richard said. Marcus's stomach dropped. Here it comes. The catch. When you make it Tand, you will make it Ty want you to do the same for someone else. Find a person who needs help, who deserves a chance, and give it to them. That's it? That's it. Pay it forward. That's all I ask. Marcus stood, extended his hand. Richard shook it. I won't let you down, Marcus said. I know you won't. As Marcus left the office, folder clutched in his hands, he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Hope. And he had no idea that Richard Caldwell's generosity was about to go even further than either of them imagined. Asterisk, asterisk, 2 days later. Marcus moved into his new apartment. Not a dorm room, an actual apartment. 1 bedroom. Small, but clean. Safe. His safe the first night he couldn't sleep. Not from discomfort. From disbelief, he kept waiting for someone to knock on the door, to tell him there'd been a mistake, that he had to leave. Go back to the streets. Back to nothing, but no one came. The internship started on Monday. Marcus arrived 30 minutes early. Wore clothes Richard's assistant had helped him buy. Professional, clean, new. The engineering department was on the 32nd floor. Glass walls. Modern equipment. Brilliant people solving impossible problems. Marcus felt out of place. Again, you must be Marcus. A woman approached. Early 30s. Confident smile. I'm Dr. Sarah Kim, head of research and development. Richard told me about you. She shook his hand firmly. We're glad to have you. Come on, I'll show you around. The tour took an hour. Labs, testing facilities, design studios. Technology Marcus had only read about in textbooks. This is your workstation, Dr. Kim said, stopping at a desk near the windows. Marcus stared. Computer, dual monitors, drawing tablet. Software licenses worth thousands of dollars. All yours. Richard doesn't do things halfway. I don't know what to say. Say you're ready to work. We've got a project that could use fresh eyes. Interested? Absolutely. Dr. Kim pulled up a holographic display. A bridge design, massive, complex, beautiful. We're competing for a contract to build a bridge in Singapore, 5 miles long. Revolutionary design, but we're having stability issues. The weight distribution doesn't work with current materials. She looked at Marcus. I want you to take a look. No pressure. Just see if anything jumps out at you. Marcus studied the design. His mind raced. Calculations, physics, engineering principles he'd learned and loved. What if he started, then stopped? Never mind. I'm new. I shouldn't. Ideas don't care about seniority, Dr. Kim interrupted. Speak. What if you reversed the load-bearing structure? Instead of supporting from below, suspend from above. Like a reverse arch. Dr. Kim's eyes widened. She pulled up new calculations. Ran simulations. The room went quiet. "It works," she whispered. "My God, it actually works." She looked at Marcus like he'd just performed magic. "How did you see that?" "I don't know. It just made sense." Wait. Dr. Kim laughed. "Marcus, you've just solved a problem our entire team has been working on for 6 months. In 30 seconds, word spread fast. By lunch, everyone in the department knew. The new intern. The homeless kid Richard found. The one with the brilliant mind. Some were impressed. Others were skeptical. Some whispered that he'd gotten lucky. Marcus didn't care. He had work, purpose, a reason to wake up. Weeks passed, then months. Marcus threw himself into everything. Projects, classes, learning, growing. His grades stayed perfect. His work exceeded expectations. Dr. Kim gave him more responsibility, harder problems, real challenges. And Marcus rose to meet every single one. One day, Richard called him to his office. "Marcus, sit. I have news." Marcus's stomach tightened. "Good news or bad?" "The Singapore Bridge project. We won the contract." Marcus smiled. "That's amazing. They specifically mentioned your design innovation. Said it's what set us apart from competitors." Richard paused. "There's a $5 million bonus for winning this contract. I'm giving you 10%. Marcus's mind went blank. "I'm sorry, what?" $500,000. "Your contribution was invaluable. You deserve to be compensated." "Mr. Caldwell, I can't accept that. I'm just an intern. I was doing my job. You did far more than your job. You revolutionized the design. Without you, we wouldn't have one." Richard slid a document across the desk. "It's already done. The money is yours." Marcus stared at the paper. $500,000. More money than he'd ever imagined having. "I don't know what to do with this. Whatever you want. Save it, invest it. Use it to help others." Richard smiled. "Though I have a suggestion." "What?" "Remember Tommy? The kid you mentioned? The one you shared your last granola bar with?" Marcus nodded. "Tommy, 16 years old, homeless, trying to finish high school while living on the streets. I made some calls. Found him. He's still out there. Still struggling?" Richard handed Marcus another folder. "This is a scholarship. For him. Full ride to any college he wants. Just like yours? You're giving him a scholarship too?" "No, you are. I'm just facilitating. The money comes from your bonus. If you want." Marcus felt tears rise. "Of course I want. Yes. Absolutely yes." "Good. There are 13 other kids I've identified. Homeless students in New York. Brilliant minds. No resources. No support." Richard's eyes gleamed. "With your bonus, we can help all of them. Full scholarships, internships, everything they need." Marcus's hand shook. "You're serious?" "Completely. You told me about them. About the invisible students? The ones sleeping in libraries and subway stations? The ones choosing education over everything else?" "I want to help them all," Marcus said. "Every single one." "Then let's do it." Over the next month, Marcus met with each student, heard their stories, saw himself in their eyes. Tommy cried when Marcus told him, hugged him, couldn't speak for 5 minutes. A girl named Lisa, who slept in Central Park and studied by streetlights, screamed with joy. A boy named David, who'd been living in his broken-down car, fell to his knees. 14 lives changed. 14 futures secured. 14 dreams given wings. And Marcus realized something profound. The dog he'd saved hadn't just changed his life. It had started a ripple, a wave of kindness that kept spreading. Richard invited him to dinner, his penthouse. Marcus expected something formal, intimidating. Instead, he met a 12-year-old girl with bright eyes and the biggest smile. "You're Marcus," she squealed. You're the one who saved Bailey." Bailey bounded over, fully healed, tail wagging. She jumped on Marcus like he was her favorite person in the world. Richard's daughter Emma hugged him. "Thank you. Thank you so much. Bailey is my best friend. If something happened to her, I don't know what I'd do." Marcus knelt down, scratched Bailey's ears. "I'm just glad she's okay. Dad told me about you. About what you're doing, helping other students. Your dad made it possible." Emma shook her head. "No, you made it possible. You're a hero." Marcus looked at Richard, saw pride in his eyes, saw family, saw love, and he understood. This wasn't just about money or scholarships. This was about connection, about humans helping humans, about the world being better because someone chose kindness over indifference. That night changed everything. Marcus wasn't just an intern anymore. He was part of something bigger. And the best part? His story was just beginning. Asterisk 1 year later, Marcus stood in front of NYU's engineering building, not as a homeless student. As a guest speaker, the auditorium was packed. 300 students, faculty, press. Everyone wanted to hear the story. The homeless kid who became an engineering prodigy, the intern who designed a revolutionary bridge, the young man who turned his second chance into chances for others. Marcus gripped the podium. His heart raced. Public speaking terrified him. But this was important. A year ago, he began. I was sleeping behind this building, in a cardboard box, starving, exhausted, invisible. The room went silent. I thought about quitting every single day, dropping out, giving up. What was the point of education if I couldn't afford to live? What was the point of dreams if reality kept crushing them? He paused, found strength. Then one night I saw a dog get hit by a car, and I made a choice. I could walk past, like everyone else, or I could help. Even though I had nothing, even though saving that dog wouldn't save me, I chose to help, and that choice changed everything. Marcus told the whole story. The blood on his jacket, the ride to the vet, meeting Richard, the scholarship, the internship, the bridge design, the 14 students. Okay, I didn't save Bailey because I thought I'd get something in return. I saved her because it was right. Because even when we have nothing, we still have the ability to care, to act, to be human. He looked out at the faces, some crying, some inspired, all listening. Mr. Caldwell gave me a second chance. But more than that, he taught me something crucial. Success isn't about what you accumulate. It's about what you give back. Marcus smiled. Today, I'm announcing the Marcus Chen Foundation, a scholarship fund for homeless students across America. Full rides, housing, food, support, everything they need to succeed. The auditorium erupted in applause. I'm donating my entire salary from Caldwell Industries, every penny, because I don't need money to be rich. I'm already rich. In purpose, in opportunity, in the ability to help others. After the speech, students lined up, wanting to talk, to share their own struggles, to ask for advice. Marcus stayed for hours, listened to every story, gave every person his time, because he remembered what it felt like to be invisible, and he refused to make anyone feel that way ever again. Richard attended the speech, stood in the back, didn't make a fuss, just watched with tears in his eyes. Afterward, they walked through campus together. Bailey trotted beside them on a leash, healthy, happy, alive. I'm proud of you, Richard said. Not for the bridge, not for the scholarships, for staying who you are, humble, kind, focused on others. I learned from the best. They reached the spot behind the library, the place where Marcus had slept for 3 months. Someone had placed a plaque there, a memorial. In honor of Marcus Chen, and all students who fight for education against impossible odds. Your strength inspires us." Marcus stared at it, couldn't speak. "The university did that," Richard said. "They wanted to remember, to make sure no student ever has to sleep here again. They're building a shelter, free housing for students in crisis. Because of me, because you spoke up, because you made people see a problem they'd been ignoring." Marcus felt the weight of it. The responsibility, the power of one voice, one story, one choice. 6 months later, Marcus graduated, top of his class. Job offers from every major engineering firm in the country. He chose Caldwell Industries, not because it paid the most, because Richard was there, because the work mattered, because he could make a real difference. Dr. Kim promoted him. Not intern anymore. Junior engineer, real projects, real authority. The foundation grew. 50 students the first year, 200 the second, 500 by the third. Tommy graduated high school, got accepted to MIT, full scholarship from Marcus's foundation. He cried when he told Marcus, kept saying thank you until the words lost meaning. Lisa became a doctor, came back to volunteer at free clinics for homeless people. David started a nonprofit, building tiny homes for students without housing, asterisk. The ripple kept spreading, wider, deeper, touching lives Marcus would never meet. One day Marcus got a call, unknown number. He almost didn't answer. "Hello? Is this Marcus Chen?" A woman's voice, shaking, emotional. "My son. He was one of your scholarship recipients, David Martinez. He died last month. Car accident." Marcus's heart stopped. David, the boy from the car, the one who started the nonprofit. "I'm so sorry," Marcus whispered. "I'm so sorry." "Don't be. I'm calling to thank you." The woman's voice broke. David had 3 years. 3 years of hope, of purpose, of knowing he mattered. Because of you. Tears streamed down Marcus's face. He mattered because of who he was. Not because of me. You gave him the chance to show the world who he was. Without you, he would have died invisible. Instead, he died having helped dozens of people. Having made a difference. She paused, gathered strength. "I'm setting up a fund. In his name. To continue his work. I wanted you to know. Wanted you to see that what you started, it doesn't end. It keeps going. Even after we're gone." Marcus sat in silence after the call, processing, grieving, understanding. Life was fragile, short, precious. What we did with it mattered. The people we helped mattered. The kindness we showed mattered. He thought about Bailey, about a split-second decision to run into traffic. How that one choice had cascaded into hundreds of lives changed. How saving one small life had somehow saved his own. Richard found him later, saw the tears, sat beside him without asking why. "David died," Marcus finally said. "I heard." "I'm sorry," his mother called. "She thanked me. Even with her son gone, she thanked me." Richard nodded, understanding, because you gave him something no one else did. Dignity, opportunity, a chance to matter. I keep thinking, what if I hadn't stopped that night? What if I'd walked past Bailey like everyone else? But you didn't. So many people don't stop, don't help, don't care. That's why the ones who do matter so much. Richard put his hand on Marcus's shoulder. "You can't save everyone, Marcus, but you can save someone, and that someone can save someone else. That's how the world gets better, one choice at a time." Marcus looked at him. This man who had given him everything, who had believed when no one else did. "Thank you," Marcus said, "for seeing me, for helping me, for teaching me what real success looks like." Richard smiled. "Thank you for saving my dog, and for reminding me why I do this, Why any of us should do this. They sat together. Two men from nothing who built something, who chose kindness in a world that often chose indifference. And somewhere Bailey slept peacefully, unaware that she'd started it all. That one small life had sparked a revolution of compassion. The story could have ended there perfectly, meaningfully. But life isn't about endings. It's about what comes next. Asterisk, asterisk, 5 years later, Marcus stood in a different kind of building. Not an office. Not a university. A shelter. The Marcus Chen Foundation had grown beyond scholarships. Now it provided housing, food programs, mental health services, job training. Everything homeless students needed to survive and thrive. Marcus walked through the facility, saw young faces bent over textbooks, heard laughter from the common room, smelled dinner cooking in the kitchen. This was his life's work, his purpose, his way of paying forward the kindness Richard had shown him. "Ain't Mr. Chen?" A young woman approached, maybe 18, nervous, hopeful. "Just Marcus, please. I'm Sophia. I just got accepted to the program." Marcus smiled. "Congratulations. Welcome. I wanted to thank you. I've been living in my car for 8 months, working 2 jobs, trying to stay in school. I was about to give up," her eyes filled with tears. "Then I found your foundation. And now I have a chance." Marcus hugged her. This stranger who was also himself 5 years ago. "You always had a chance, Sophia. We're just making it easier to see." She wiped her eyes, laughed. "Read about you. About the dog. About how it all started. Best decision I ever made. I want to be like you someday. Help people the way you help people. By not giving up. By keeping going when everything was against you. That's the hardest kind of help. Helping yourself." Sophia nodded, smiled, walked away stronger than she'd arrived. Marcus continued through the shelter, checked on students, made sure everyone had what they needed. This was his favorite part. The human part. The connection hit. His phone rang. "Richard. Turn on the news. Channel 7. Marcus found a TV in the common room, switched to Channel 7. His own face stared back at him from the screen. The homeless student turned philanthropist has been named one of Time magazine's 100 most influential people, the anchor announced. His foundation has helped over 2,000 students escape homelessness and achieve their educational dreams. The students in the room erupted, cheering, clapping, chanting. His name, Marcus felt embarrassed, humbled. This wasn't about him. It was about them, but they didn't see it that way. To them, he was proof that the system could change, that people could care, that one person's kindness could ripple into thousands of lives. The segment continued, showed clips from his speeches, interviews with students he'd helped, footage of the bridge in Singapore. His bridge, the one that had started everything. Then, Richard appeared on screen. Older now, gray hair turned white, but still strong, still present. "Marcus Chen saved my dog 5 years ago," Richard said to the interviewer. "But he did more than that. He reminded me what wealth is really for. Not accumulation, not power, but service. He took the chance I gave him and multiplied it 1,000 times over." The interviewer asked, "Do you regret the money you've invested in his foundation?" Richard laughed. "Regret? It's the best investment I've ever made. You can't put a price on changing lives, on giving people hope." Marcus understands that. He always has. The segment ended. The students crowded around Marcus, hugging him, thanking him, celebrating. But Marcus felt something else. A weight, a responsibility. This recognition brought attention, resources, opportunity, but also pressure, expectations. He called Richard back, Congratulations. Richard said warmly. I don't deserve this. Of course you do. Stop being modest. Accept your success. It's not my success. It's ours, yours, the students. Everyone who believed. That's exactly why you deserve it. Because you still see it that way. Marcus smiled. I need your advice. Always. The foundation is growing too fast. We have applications from students in 48 states. I can't keep up. I'm one person to hire people. Build a team. You don't have to do this alone. I want to make sure it stays pure. That it doesn't become some corporate charity that loses sight of why it exists. Richard was quiet for a moment, then spoke carefully. Marcus, I'm 73 years old. I've built a successful company, made more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes. But you know what my proudest achievement is? What? Helping you? Meeting Bailey from that car accident changed my life as much as it changed yours. It reminded me what matters. He paused. I want to make you an offer. I'm stepping down as CEO of Caldwell Industries. I want to work with you, full-time, on the foundation. Help you build it into something that lasts beyond both of us. Marcus couldn't speak, couldn't process what he was hearing. You want to leave your company? For my foundation. Our foundation. I've spent 50 years building a business. I want to spend whatever time I have left building something more important. Building futures. Tears filled Marcus's eyes. Richard, I don't know what to say. Say yes. Let me help you the way you helped me see what really matters. Yes, of course, yes. 3 months later, Richard joined the foundation officially, brought his business expertise, his connections, his resources together. They transformed it. Expanded to every state, partnered with universities, created pipeline programs from high schools, built support networks. Emma, Richard's daughter, now 21, joined too, studying social work, passionate about helping others. Bailey, older but still energetic, became the foundation's unofficial mascot. Her picture on every brochure. Her story told to every new student. One evening, Marcus and Richard sat in the foundation's main office. Late, everyone else gone home. Do you ever think about that night? Richard asked. The night you saved Bailey? Every day, what do you think about? Marcus considered. I think about how close I came to walking past, how tired I was, how much I didn't want to get involved. But you did. But I did. And everything changed. Not just for me. For thousands of people. Richard nodded slowly. I think about it too. I think about how I almost didn't stop. How I almost just called my driver to pick up Bailey and left you on the street. What made you stop? The look on your face? You weren't helping Bailey for a reward? You were helping her because she needed help. That purity of intention. I hadn't seen that in years. They sat in comfortable silence. Two men bound by a moment, by a choice, by a small dog who'd brought them together. I'm dying, Marcus. The words hung in the air, heavy, final. Marcus's heart stopped.
What? Pancreatic cancer?
Stage 4. 6 months, maybe less. Oh no. You can't, it's okay. I'm at peace. Richard smiled. Sad but genuine. I've had a good life. A full life. In these last 5 years working with you, building this, it's been the best part. Marcus couldn't speak, couldn't accept it. I need you to promise me something, Richard continued. Anything. Going. Even after I'm gone. Keep helping students. Keep spreading kindness. Keep being the man who runs into traffic to save a dying dog. Promise. Take care of Emma and Bailey. They'll need you. Joel, I swear. Richard stood, hugged Marcus, held on tight. Thank you, he whispered, for giving my life meaning at the end. for showing me what legacy really looks like. 6 months later, Richard Caldwell died peacefully, surrounded by family, by Marcus, by the students whose lives he'd changed. His funeral was attended by thousands. Business leaders, politicians, students from every state. Marcus gave the eulogy, talked about kindness, about second chances, about a man who could have just written a check, but instead gave his time, his energy, his last years to making the world better. Emma scattered her father's ashes in the foundation's garden. Bailey lay beside her, old now, but present. Marcus planted a tree, an oak, strong, enduring, like Richard. The foundation continued, grew, became a national model. Politicians cited it. Other philanthropists copied it. Students told their children about it. And Marcus kept the promise, kept helping, kept caring, kept being human in a world that sometimes forgot how. 10 years after saving Bailey, Marcus stood in front of Congress, testifying about homelessness, about education, about the students falling through the cracks. He told them the story. The dog, the billionaire, the choice. And he ended with this: we all have the power to change someone's life. It doesn't take billions of dollars. It takes attention, compassion, the willingness to stop when everyone else walks past. Richard Caldwell taught me that wealth isn't about what you have. It's about what you give. Not just money, but time, energy, belief in others. Every student we help goes on to help others. Every life we change creates ripples we'll never see. That's the real reward. Not recognition, not fame, but knowing we made the world a little less cruel, a little more kind. Marcus finished. Sat down, the room was silent. Then applause. Standing ovation. Tears on faces that rarely showed emotion. Laws were changed that day. Funding secured. Programs created. All because a homeless student saved a dog, and a billionaire saw potential in kindness. Bailey died 2 years later, 16 years old, surrounded by love. Emma buried her next to Richard, two souls who'd brought so much love into the world. Marcus visited their graves often, brought flowers, told them stories about the students, about the lives saved, about the future they'd built together. And sometimes, late at night, Marcus would walk the streets, see homeless students studying by streetlight, and he'd stop, talk to them, help them. Because he remembered, he would always remember, and he would never, ever walk past someone who needed help. Because one act of kindness had saved his life, and now his life was dedicated to saving others. That was Richard's legacy. That was Bailey's gift. That was Marcus's promise. And it would never end. As long as someone remembered to stop, to care, to help. The story wasn't over. It would never be over. It would just keep spreading. One student, one chance, one choice at a time.